Powerful awakening protocol. Break the loop and embody abundance. You didn't click on this video by accident. Maybe you feel trapped in looping cycles, the same mistakes, the same kinds of people, the same challenges wearing new disguises. Ever wondered why? What if I told you it's not bad luck, not karma, and definitely not coincidence? These patterns are messages, fragments of an invisible code, trying to catch your attention. You're living synchronicities, but you may never have learned to read their language. In this video, you'll discover why the same patterns keep showing up in your life, how synchronicities are trying to wake you up, and how to break the cycle, and access what Carl Jung called your authentic self. By the end, you won't just understand synchronicities, you'll become aware of them, and that changes everything. The illusion of chance. From a very early age, back when we were still coloring our first drawings in school, we're taught to view reality as a cold, predictable machine, almost robotic. Teachers lecture us on Newton's laws, probability charts, and equations that supposedly account for every tiny movement in the universe. We absorb the idea that everything is a direct result of cause plus effect, as if life were one long line of dominoes falling in perfect sequence. In this model, coincidence becomes a four-letter word with zero scientific value, relegated to mere statistical aberrations, noise experts prefer to ignore because it won't fit on the spreadsheet. And so we grow up anesthetized to mystery, conditioned to discard any sign that doesn't slot neatly into the rational script. Then, without warning, the script rips. Picture this. On an ordinary night, you dream vividly about a childhood friend you haven't seen in years. You wake with the feeling still, pounding in your chest, and before you even pour the coffee, the phone buzzes. It's him. Your heart races, your mind fumbles for logic, but reason stutters. What are the odds? Why today? In that instant, every shred of statistical noise seems to whisper a secret no spreadsheet can decode, and it doesn't stop there. You step outside and numbers start dancing before your eyes, like neon on a cosmic marquee. 1111 on the dashboard clock, 222 on a building address, 444 on a passing truck. Must be pareidolia, the skeptic in your brain mutters. Yet another voice, deeper down, shivers. Could a hidden order lurk behind this relentless sequence, a divine algorithm blinking to get your attention? Then, as if the universe wants to paint the picture even bolder, someone special appears, almost like an apparition, at the exact moment you decide to turn the page and rewrite your story. It feels as though life conspires to align stars, settings, and emotions, stitching synchronicities that implode the narrative of mere randomness. You sense an invisible choreography, and suddenly, it's impossible to believe this is just blind luck. These experiences, dreams that morph into phone calls, numbers that repeat, meetings that redirect destinies, are more than curious coincidences. They're letters from a greater intelligence, codes that pierce the veil of routine to whisper, "Hey, wake up, you are not alone on this board." The raw electric truth is that the universe speaks. And when you learn to listen, you discover that nothing, absolutely nothing, is accidental. Carl Jung and the birth of synchronicity. In the first half of the 20th century, while Freud was dissecting dreams as wish fulfillment, his former disciple Carl Gustav Jung turned his gaze to something even more mysterious, those coincidences that feel orchestrated by an unseen hand. He coined the word synchronicity to describe The meaningful coincidence between inner events, thoughts, emotions, visions, and outer events. Things that actually happen, that share no causal link, yet convey a deeper meaning. It's as if the universe flashes a warning light whenever your inner world vibrates on the same frequency as something out there. For Jung, these unlikely encounters reveal tiny cracks in the wall that separates the conscious from the unconscious. When the two realms collide symbolically, a dream comes true, a hunch materializes, a number won't stop appearing. You're glimpsing the shimmering surface of the Unus Mundus, the one world. In that field, everything and everyone is woven together by hidden meanings, like threads in a cosmic tapestry that only appears when you shift from logic to intuition. Jung didn't pull this idea out of an academic top hat. He saw it happen again and again. He noticed patterns in dreams that foretold accidents. In mandalas, patients drew without ever studying Eastern symbols. In stories of improbable meetings that changed lives in a heartbeat. Even in his own life, as in the famous case of a patient describing a golden scarab in a dream, while at that very moment a real scarab beetle tapped at the consulting room window, defying all odds and asking to be let in. To Jung, that was the universe stamping the file, hypothesis confirmed. And perhaps, just perhaps, you're experiencing something similar right now, without knowing what to call it. That déjà vu that feels pre-recorded. The song on the radio whose lyrics mirror your emotions. The word that leaps from an open, a book and answers the question burning in your mind. It isn't illusion, nor mere luck. It's the secret language of the Unus Mundus inviting you into conversation. The more conscious you become, the clearer it gets that coincidences are really invitations from destiny, nudging you to wake up and play an active role in your own story, where repeating patterns begin. You wake up each morning believing you have total freedom of choice, yet, without noticing, you follow an invisible script written decades ago, maybe generations ago. It's as if a hidden autopilot sits beneath your steering wheel. You turn the key, press the gas, but an old unconscious software still charts the route. That's why the movie keeps replaying with new backgrounds but the same cast. Toxic relationships, self-sabotage, cycles of scarcity looping on and on, changing only their masks. Where does this script come from? It springs from archetypes, primordial images that live in the collective unconscious, according to Jung. Think of them as universal psychological molds, always ready for download into the human mind. When one archetype dominates, it becomes a lens through which you interpret reality and make decisions without even realizing it. If the cold mother rules inside you, every gesture of affection feels suspicious. If the absent father is in charge, you're forever chasing external validation. If you pulse with the failed hero, you sabotage every new project at the last minute. And if you wear the chronic victim mask, you spot threats on every corner and drain your energy blaming the world. Picture living inside a house whose walls are mirrored glass. You can see the outside world, but you can't see the reflection that controls everything within. Synchronicity, those meaningful accidents that stalk you, acts like a crack in that mirror. It reflects the hidden archetype and whispers, something bigger is steering your steps, stop and look. When the same abusive partner shows up for the third time, it isn't bad luck, it's the universe pushing the lesson to the surface. When yet another financial venture collapses exactly like the previous ones, it's not divine punishment. It's life displaying the scarcity script so you'll finally rewrite it. In other words, a repeating pattern is unquestioned destiny. Spotting the archetype that rules your life. puts the pen for the next chapter back in your hand. And every synchronicity is a neon arrow pointing to the precise spot where your old software needs an update. Learn to read those signals, question the role you've been acting out, and you'll move from unconscious actor to conscious author of your own story. How to recognize the signs. First, remember this. A true synchronicity isn't a quirky story to impress your friends. It's an urgent telegram from reality itself. And that telegram arrives stamped with 5 unmistakable seals. Spot them all, and you'll know you're not facing random chance, but a symbolic key ready to unlock a new doorway in your life. 1. Intense emotion or direct impact. The first clue is almost physical, a shiver down your spine, a racing heart, a breath caught mid-chest. It's your body shouting, "Pay attention!" If the event leaves you unmoved, it's probably noise. If it triggers an inner earthquake, even for a split second, the message is personal. 2. Alignment with what you're living. A synchronicity never shows up out of context. It lands squarely on the emotional territory you're already digging, thinking of switching careers. An article, a conversation, an opening appears on that exact topic. Wrestling with forgiveness? Suddenly an old friend reaches out. The sign latches onto the theme pulsing inside you, as if the universe syncs its clock to your heartbeat. 3. Unexpected repetition in a short time span. One event can be forgotten, 2 still feel random. But when the pattern repeats 3, 4, 5 times in days, or even hours, it practically shouts, "Look at me!" Life becomes a patient teacher, repeating the lesson until you copy it down. The shorter the interval between events, the louder the message. 4. Statistical improbability. Now the math of the improbable kicks in. Odds so low any statistician would raise an eyebrow. You find the same rare book in 3 different places. In 1 week, spot the same phrase on multiple signs. Get a call from someone not even saved in your contacts. When coincidence defies statistics, it crosses the border into synchronicity. 5. Shift in perception or attitude. A true sign leaves a trace. Afterward, you simply can't see the world the same way. Something inside you shifts, even a centimeter. Maybe renewed courage, a sudden insight, or the undeniable urge to act now. No internal shift. It was just data. A shift in consciousness. That was communication. From now on, whenever these 5 seals appear together, stop, even for a minute, and ask yourself, what door is this symbolic key meant to unlock in me? Recognizing the code is the first step to rewriting the pattern that led you here and consciously choosing the next chapter of your story. The hidden mechanics of reality. Pull back the curtain on the quantum lab, and you'll bump into a fact so mind-bending it sounds like sci-fi. The mere act of observing changes the experiment. In the famous double-slit test, subatomic particles behave as waves or bullets, depending on who or what is watching. In other words, the observer interferes with the observed. This isn't metaphor. It's hard physics, published in peer-reviewed journals. The universe, it seems, is not a stage where we passively watch the show. We participate in it, rewriting the script with every glance, every intention. Now trade the white lab coat for a neuroscience helmet. Inside your brain sits a gatekeeper called the reticular activating system, ARAS. It screens roughly 11 million bits of data per second and lets through only what it deems relevant, usually whatever matches your beliefs, emotions, and focus. Think there are no opportunities, and the RAS pulls the blind so you won't see any. Believe the world conspires in my favor, and the same gatekeeper swings the doors wide, allowing positive coincidences to parade before your eyes. Put these two pieces together, and a fascinating picture emerges. What you perceive out there is sculpted by what vibrates in here. Feelings, thoughts, and expectations work like radio frequencies. You transmit, reality echoes back. Synchronicity, then, isn't an external magic trick, but the direct reflection of your inner resonance. Speak in a canyon, and the cliffs don't create the sound, they return what you sent. Likewise, the universe mirrors back signals that match your vibrational state, be they repeating numbers, improbable meetings, or urgent opportunities. Here's the paradigm shift. Synchronicity doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. You're not a guest, you're a co-author. If the pattern that returns displeases you, don't fight the echo, change the voice that produced it. Swap fear for curiosity, doubt for gratitude, boredom for purpose, and watch coincidences rewrite their playlist in a blink. In short, the hidden mechanics of reality declare that consciousness plus vibration, the storyline of your experience. The moment you grasp this, every thought becomes a brush, every emotion becomes paint, and every synchronicity appears as a guiding stroke, confirming whether you are or aren't painting the canvas you truly wish to see. How to break the cycle and create a new one. First, highlight this sentence in your mind. You are not doomed to endless reruns. The patterns that feel like shackles today are really temporary scripts that can be rewritten at any moment. The key is realizing that every synchronicity, every coincidence that makes your heart race, is a summons to exit autopilot and grab the wheel of your own story. 1. Write the signs down. Carry a small notebook or open a note. Whenever a number repeats, a song plays at the perfect moment, or an unlikely meeting occurs, write it down. Recording turns the fleeting into evidence and installs a new command in your brain. This matters. 2. Notice what's vibrating inside you. Pause for a minute and investigate. What emotion was dominating when the sign appeared? What thought was looping in your mind? Sensing your inner state sharpens the focus of your RAS, reticular, activating system, and reveals the mirror reality is projecting. 3. Ask with open intention. Look at the phenomenon and ask, what is this trying to show me? Then listen. The answer might arrive as an insight, a memory, a shiver, or a calm inner dialogue. It doesn't need instant logic. It needs genuine attention. 4. Align intention with action. Insight without movement turns to dust. If the sign suggests courage, take the first step. Send the message, enroll in the course, schedule the conversation. Life rewards synchronicity when it converts into action. Picture existence as an ongoing symbolic dialogue. When you respond with full awareness, you adjust the frequency you emit, and the universe, like an intelligent echo, returns experiences that match your new vibration. With every deliberate choice, you break a link in the old chain and solder a new path, better aligned with the future you want to live. The leap of consciousness. Take a deep breath and embrace this transformative idea. What you label as chance, destiny, or mere luck is actually a living communication system between your essence and the universe itself. Every coincidence is a syllable, every sign a sentence. Together, they form a secret language that becomes audible only when you awaken to the dialogue. Synchronicity is that language, a vibrational alphabet that turns reality into a mirror. Remember, what you're seeking is also racing toward you. As you reach for your dreams, they reach back, powered by the same force that stitches stars and heartbeats into a single rhythm. Likewise, the pattern repeating in your life isn't punishment. It's a teacher. It runs the lesson until pain turns into wisdom, fear into courage, doubt into clarity. And the change you've been waiting for. It begins the instant you say yes to the symbolic call. That yes shows up in small daily acts, jotting a sign in your notebook, choosing a high-vibration emotion, making the decision that felt too bold yesterday. When your inner yes meets an outer opportunity, life shifts gears, and the road ahead ignites with new possibilities. If this video touched your heart, share your experience in the comments. Your story could spark awareness in someone walking the same tunnel you just traversed. Subscribe for new maps on this inner journey. Hit the bell and walk with us toward a state of consciousness where nothing, absolutely nothing, is accidental. Because in the end, the universe speaks the language of synchronicity. It's up to us to learn how to listen.